Greetings, my people. Greetings, my people. Today is Tuesday, March 17th, 2026. The time is 10:15 a.m. And I titled this one, Why You Like These Guys? Why do you like these guys? And if you see my thumbnail, I got a picture of 50 Cent and Boosie. Why do you like these guys when they represent the worst in black manhood? Right? I'm looking at, and I can't remember. Uh, I'm not gonna say getting into it because she had an issue, but it was an associate that I thought was a friend, and she would always run to the aid of Lil Boosie. Like whenever I was saying anything about Lil Boosie, calling out his degenerate behavior, she would always come to the aid of Lil Boosie, and that started to pluck my nerve because I'm your friend, and we're supposed to be seeing clear. Like, why is the degeneracy of Lil Boosie being protected, right? And also with 50 Cent, like, why do y'all like 50 Cent? And I'm gonna get into why I think a lot of y'all like 50 Cent. I think a lot of y'all like 50 Cent, same reason y'all like Jay-Z. You like the mogul in them, right? You like the person that give you series like BMF, person that don't power, you know, um, and it always shows like just watching this whole beef between him and Ti, and watching how regular people process it, watching how people process this quote unquote beef and pretend that somebody's picking on 50 or pretend that somebody needs 50 to sell records. And I would always say that you collectively give these people the right and you agree with these people to sell black people out, right? And this is why it plucks my nerve whenever we're talking about being African or African culture. And the first thing you say, these people sold you into slavery. Africans sold Africans into slavery. And you literally give these people passes to sell you into destruction, right? And it bothers me. Number one, it bothers me because they are a representation of black masculinity. They are a representation of black success. They are a representation of fatherhood, even if you will, right? And that's a problem. That's a problem for many reasons, right? That's a problem for many reasons. And when I listen to y'all and y'all say when it comes to 50 and 50 he only has a problem with his people, right? He has too much respect and too much love for Robert Greene, who wrote the 48 Laws of Power, The Art of Seduction, 33 Strategies of War, all those books, right? He has such a love and respect and admiration that he would never disrespect him in that way. This is what I mean when I say y'all give them permission to sell us out in your face, right? And when it came to the whole childishness of the whole quote unquote verses for him and Ti, like Ti said, you could have just simply said no, but he gets off on chaos. He gets off on drama, and he's able to sell you. This is what I mean. Listen to me. This is what I mean when I say he's able to sell you destruction, right? He's able to sell you shows of us destroying each other. Even though BMF was loosely based on real life, right? Look at the imagery that he sells the black mind. He's selling you mental crack. He's selling you digital substances, right? Mental substances. And you gobble it up. He sells you where he tells you black American culture is, right? He sells you this lifestyle. And you gobble it up. So instead of him just saying, you know what, no, I don't want to do the verses, that's not how he rolls. He rolls in to cause chaos, to cause confusion, an AOC, an agent of chaos, an agent of confusion. He gets off on that. He gets off on insulting black women's features. Whether it be Notori Knotting, who don't bother nobody. Who has a problem with Notori Knotting? And what he does is psychologically abusive because to put her picture, and if you don't know what I'm talking about with Notori Knotting, to have a beef with her and put her picture next to Goro on Mortal Kombat. He literally put her picture next to Goro on Mortal Kombat to have it in to destroy people like Tierra Marie, to have it in to beef with Clarissa Shields. But y'all don't. Most people today don't like Clarissa Shields. You cannot like her. You cannot like how she talks. You cannot like her. But when you get off into the first thing you go for is to destroy somebody's looks. You're trying to psychologically, you're going to mentally damage them on purpose. Right? Anybody that look at this video, tell me one thing positive. Don't give me TV shows that depicted us in violence. That's not positive. Show me one loving thing that he's ever done for the black community. Tell me one loving thing. He left his oldest son behind. And most of y'all are so programmed with that, and y'all say, well, now I didn't agree with his son saying X amount of dollars wasn't enough to live off of. But when he had beef with his dad was insulting his mom, you put a young man in a tough situation. Because you're insulting the parent that has been there the whole time. I remember years ago, early 2000s, I think he was doing an MTV Cribs interview or something like that. It was something to that nature. I don't know if it was Cribs, but he said right then that he wasn't a present father, and his son Marquise was a little kid. That always stuck with me. He said that way back then that he wasn't always a present father. But see, you think from the mind of a philanthropist, right? You think from the mind of from a rich white boy that you just feel like throwing money at situations solves problems. Spoiling your children solves problems. There was an old school movie with Richard Pryor. It's called The Toy. And that's a goddamn movie. That movie there is a doozy for how they see black people as just entertainment, something to purchase. But there was a movie called A Toy with Richard Pryor, and it had Jackie Gleason in it. And Jackie Gleason played the rich white boy with the spoiled bratty child. And the spoiled bratty child would only come see his father like I think it was like maybe once a year. He would spend time with him like annually or something like that. It wasn't much, put it like that. And this little kid was terrible because he was just ship him off to boarding school. But this little kid had everything you could imagine: trains, planes, automobiles. This little kid had it all. This little kid had every toy that you could imagine, but he didn't have his father. And it took. And see, here's the mind fuck that they do to us. They tell us that they civilized us. But in that movie, it took Richard Pryor to civilize that little white boy and teach him just how to treat people. Teach him how you treat friends and how you don't. Because he thought because his rich dad bought him as a toy, he could treat him as a toy. Right? So I'm saying that to say that you can throw things at your child, you can buy them all these things, you can buy them all. But if you're not there, if you're not present, if you're not there to show them, like a lot of times we have to show our young men what it is to be a father. We have to show our young men what it is. How does a man carry himself emotionally? But 50 Cent is void of those emotions. Like he looks at everything as a battlefield. He looks at everything as a war. And hey, part of that I can understand. But what bothers me is he only looks at his people as that eyesore. He only looks at his people as the problem. We only and y'all call it trolling. Y'all say, "Oh, he just a troll. Oh, he just a troll." When is it okay to grow up? He's successful lifetimes over, but he still has this arrested development to where he wants to destroy lives just for the fun of it. That's a miserable person. But yet you got these fans out here. You got these fans out here that say, "Man, 50 coming with it. 50 coming with it." Because you're a fanatic. You're living in a fantasy. 50 coming with it. We give these people permission to sell us out, to not be accountable to nothing that they sell you. And they sell you BML. He got into it. He got now the whole Big Meats thing. That was kind of a goofy move on Big Meats. But still, there's always this way that he handles his people. I would like to see how he gets in. I would like to see if how he had a problem with white people, how he would handle it. Would he troll white people like this? Would he troll them small hats or them Jews like that? Would he troll Jews? Would he talk about Jewish people's family like this? And we think it's cool. We think it's cool to insult a man's family. And this is the thing that I don't like in this sick masculinity, that there's always a problem when a man sticks up for his wife. You got these dudes out here that riding for Kevin Samuels. But when a man stick up for his wife, they call that weak. Type of husbands are y'all. And when I look at Lil Boosie is arguably the worst because his arrested development is the worst of the worst. Number one, there's a there's a hypocrisy with his son versus his daughters. I can remember how even in his songs he was talking about his son Tootie. That when his son Tootie grows up, he's gonna get him head at a birthday party. He's gonna get this woman to do this to him. So you're over sexualizing your son. This is not masculinity. This is not training young men to be men. This is hypersexualizing them before their time. If he's straight, he's gonna find his way to it. He's gonna find his way to it. You ain't gotta force it. But I remember he got into it with one of his daughters. I think her name was Tori or something. And I can remember how he was calling his little daughter these bitches and saying he was gonna black that bitch eye, and how, because again, same thing in 50 Cent fashion. They expect these children to listen to you degrade their mother. He said that she was embarrassing. The daughter was embarrassing the name. I think he said, and correct me if I'm wrong, that I guess she got caught messing with some boys, and that she was embarrassing the name. Now he got all of this smoke, and again, look at the things that these low grade black males have you to focus on. Who in protective custody? Millions of things that you could be talking about. Millions of things that's plaguing the black community and threatening black masculinity. And you're talking about who's in protective custody. But you know what? And what's gangster and what's not. That's not gangster being in PC, but he's a huge R. Kelly fan. That's not gangster. Let me say that again. That's not gangster being in PC or protective custody, but it's gangster to be a pedophile. It's gangster to admire and protect a pedophile. He's still selling these young boys street fantasies. How to be tough and go do your bid. He ought to be making ways to get these young men out the street. But he's still selling them a fantasy because he sells destruction. And why y'all like this? I listened to that little girl, that same daughter, sit in the car. Y'all don't listen to these children. Y'all don't listen to the youth because if they belong to the parent that you got an admiration for, the first thing you say is they're ungrateful. You don't listen to the youth, and that's why we in this thing and situation now where we got old slave versus young slave versus old slave. Y'all can argue with me all day on whether the Willie Lynch is real and who wrote it, but the methodology behind it is factual. She said that was the first man to break my heart. But he got money. Back to that, like I said, like that movie called The Toy. He got money. He can buy his children cars. He can't give them character though. Shall we talk about the little kid Marlo Mike that he was paying pennies to delete people, to delete his own people? And then now he has left this young black man to rot for following his lead. But y'all respect Lil Boosie for following his instructions. But he'll never let Lil Tootie go down that road. He'll never let Lil Tootie go down that road. He wants to protect Lil Tootie from those. And they say, well, that's his father. That's what we're supposed to do. Hey, guess what? When young men are in your presence and they look at you as big bro, they look at you as OG, they look at you as a father figure, you ought to protect them with that same manner and that same manner. But y'all protect the arrested development of Lil Boost. You love the devil because he gives you nothing. They represent the worst in black masculinity. And I have a huge problem with it. They sell you nigga fantasies. They still sell you the nigga image. Nigga is an archetype. It's the lowest on the totem pole. Y'all say black is a social construct. Y'all say this is the funniest thing when y'all say y'all don't believe in black. Black is a social construct. They told us. They told us we was African American, but you love to be called a nigga. And then y'all try to do the whole naga. No, 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 no. That's an offspring of nigger, hard ER. and you love destruction, as long as they can make it entertaining. But hit in my comments. Let me know. I'm not gonna be long. I just wanted to get these thoughts off because I was looking at this whole argument with Kodak Black. Boosie's arguing with Kodak Black. Boosie's getting a list together of who was in PC. But he sat on Vlad with that white phone in his mouth talking about that was consensual with R. Kelly. That's a lowercase G. You talking about gangster. But he's westernized. So when you understand the psyche of these white folks, they are the original pedophiles. Look up Zeus and Ganymede. Look up NAMBLA, North American Man Boy Love Association. So you are infected with this disease. This is why, because he don't have a love and a respect for the divine feminine energy. The woman is secondary but not necessary for him. The woman is only for recreation. He can't understand the beauty in procreation, even though he got a gang of kids. So instead of using your OG status, talk to Kodak. You make up this list. And I don't usually like Hot Boy Turk because I feel like Hot Boy Turk is just a beggar. And I feel like he's forcing the world to listen to this Joseph album that nobody asked for. But I respect Turk for standing up and setting the line straight. See, here's the thing with us as people. We don't always have to get along. We ain't got to agree with everything. It's okay to disagree. What is not okay is to go to war about every little disagreement or fall out with your people about every little thing. Learn how to communicate through stuff. Hey, bro, I don't respect that. Plenty of people tell me they don't agree with what I say. That's fine. But I can respect Turk for standing up, talking about their position from a prison street perspective. Because I don't know the streets from that perspective. I ain't never seen the inside of a G. I've never seen the back of a police car. I don't have a record. So I don't know that. I'm a civilian to that right there. But I can respect Turk speaking up and saying, "No, this shit flawed, man. You selling these children a dream. You should be," he said, "I was spending overtime trying to talk to these little homies about that." And Lil Boosie, who have the most influence. Y'all gonna understand power words. When you say a social media influencer, when you drive it under the influence, something else has a whole control over you, does it not? You're not in your normal state of being because you're under the influence of something else, of a foreign substance. But that's all I wanted to say. Maybe I'll come back later and do something. But hit in my comments and tell me what you think about this. Why do our people support? Why support these type of dudes? If you a 50 fan, if you a Boosie fan, why? Tell me why. Tell me what you like about them. Hey, outside of music, character wise, what do you like about them? You know what I'm talking about? Peace.